Hey guys, we are in our third 9 weeks of school, which means you probably are using a lot of informational or nonfiction text in your classroom. Some of you may get an assignment where you're asked to craft an argumentative or persuasive essay. What's an argumentative essay? Well, let's just say you are a lawyer and you have to defend your client. You have to prove they're innocent. You've got to know the reasons why. But at the same time, there is another lawyer who's trying to prove your client is guilty. And they have their own sets of reasons. Not only do you have to know your argument, you have to know what they're going to say as well, and then counterclaim that. Okay, it's true that the same thing applies in crafting an argumentative essay. So what would this look like? Let's select a topic. I'm going to select the topic, should cell phones be restricted in schools? Now, if you were working on this project, you may say, yes, cell phones should be restricted in schools because they are a distraction. Or you might say, cell phones should be allowed in schools because they help me to learn. Well, these are good reasons, but they are only your opinions. You need an informed opinion or a more informed opinion. You need some evidence. You need some research to back up what you are saying. And this evidence could be in the form of other people who are authoritative on the subject. It could be from some statistics that you find. It could be on any type of good, solid, reliable current research. Now, one way to find this research is pretty popular. People will probably go on Google and they may type in, should cell phones be allowed in school? Okay, that seems pretty easy and straightforward, and you may even get a few hits. But chances are you're going to get information that is just random and from people that don't have any authority to speak on your subject. It may just be their opinions, not backed up by any type of data or research. You don't want that. You want something more solid, something deeply informed that will make your reader or your audience listen to you and be convinced one way or another. Okay? Now, where we can find this is on DISCUS by looking at the Opposing Viewpoints database. So if you remember, to get to DISCUS, we go to our Launchpad, we click on it. It comes up. Looks like this. I'm going to ask you to click on the heading that says A to Z list. Click on that. Scroll down until you see Gale in context, opposing viewpoints. That's what we want. I'm going to click on it. And this is what it looks like. Very different than what we would see if we used a Google page or a web search engine. Now, I'm going to back up a second. It could be that you don't know what topic you're going to pick and you just need some good ideas. Well, if you scroll here, it says Browse Issues. You can click on any of these headings to come up with a topic. There's things like law and politics, society, students and grades. Maybe your topic is, should students be given homework or should students be given grades? But I know what my topic is. So I'm just going to use the search box. Okay, what terms do you think we should put in the search box? Since I'm talking about cell phone, I'm just going to type in cell phones just to see what happens. Okay, I'm going to focus right now just under viewpoints. I'm going to use a technique called skim and scan. I'm going to skim these headings, these titles, but I'm not going to go into them just yet. I just want to see if this might be what I'm looking for. Okay, the first one says cell phones in schools are here to stay. You know, just by reading that title, that might be something that helped me. Teaching students cell phone responsibility can begin early. Okay, cell phones create especially problematic e-waste. Okay, by looking at these relate to my topic, but they don't tell me about cell phone use in schools. And that's really what I'm looking for. And I don't want to waste my time going through all of these that might not meet my needs. I'm going to go back and revise my search in the search box. And it's perfectly okay to do this as many times as you need to. Now, as I said before, I want to read about cell phones in schools. Should we have them? So I'm going to type cell phones. I'm going to type the word and notice I'm going to put it in capital letters. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. I've got cell phones and schools. This is called a Boolean search. You'll learn more about it as you progress through high school. Basically, it's going to search headings that have the word cell phones in it and the word schools, and hopefully filter out some of that stuff I don't need. Okay, I'm going to go back to my viewpoints. Let's see what I have this time. Cell phones in schools are here to stay. I think we just had that one. Okay, banning mobile phones in schools, beneficial or risky? Here's what the evidence says. You know what? Just by looking at that title, that tells me that I'm going to read an article that either promotes or doesn't promote cell phone use in schools. Probably, actually both. So that would be a good article to use. I'm going to keep that in mind. And I could go forth and go down. Let's just click on this first one. Now I need to determine if this article meets my needs. I'm going to use that same technique of skimming and scanning. I'm not going to actually read this article in its entirety yet. I'm going to simply determine if this is something I can use for my research. Okay, I'm just going to read the paragraph headings, maybe the first sentence: learning opportunities, boarding schools, and cell phones. Cell phones provide connections with parents. Okay, would that be something that would prove my argument that cell phones are useful in schools, that we should have them? Okay, right here, the opposing view. There is still evidence of cell phones being a distraction in school if not properly managed. Okay, I kind of got an idea of what this article is going to tell me. I definitely want to read it. I definitely want to read it in its entirety, but I'm going to save it first. So when I have time, I can come back to it, because right now I'm just gathering my resources. Okay, real easy way to do that. Here's the Google Drive icon. You click on that, it's going to automatically save it to your Google Drive. You will have it no matter what device you get on. Now you may say, I don't have internet connection. What am I going to do? I don't have access to a printer. Click the download button. It'll download it to your desktop on your Chromebook. Okay. Now, chances are your teacher will probably ask you to cite your source. That means she wants you to tell her where you got it from. Now, there is an official way to do this called an MLA format that you'll learn more about if you haven't already. It's where you create a citation that says where you got your information, when, and so forth and so on. But if you use DISCUS, all you have to do is select that heading and paste it into your Works Cited page. Very easy. Had you been using a Google website, you would have to create this on your own. Okay. One thing I wanted to point out, just like from our other databases, if you want to listen to this article as you follow along, you can click the speaker button. Whoops, looks like I went out of it. Let me go back in. You click your speaker button. So that is how you find an article in a nutshell. And of course, I want more than one article. I want a balanced view. I need a lot more than just one. I can go back to my viewpoints. I can click on it. And I've got many, many, many more resources that I could use. Now, sometimes you may need to add things to your articles. You may need some statistics, some things to back your argument up. Maybe you want to introduce your topic to a reader that's not familiar with it. That's why we use statistics. Now, I'm looking over here, and it says I have 2 statistics I can use. I wish I had more, but I'm going to go ahead and click. Maybe, let's see, what do we have here? Cell phone policies and cyberbullying in U.S. public schools, academic year 2017-2018. I could probably use some of that if I wanted to prove that cell phones result in cyberbullying. My next one, percent of teens who take their cell phones to school by school policy 2009. That could be useful. I could introduce my topic by saying this number of students bring a cell phone to school every day. But I want you to look closely at this one. It says it's a 2011 edition, and it has a print date of 2009. Now, when we talk about cell phones and technology, that has changed a lot since the year 2009. And even more so, I'm willing to bet that the number of students that brought their phone to school in 2009 is very different from the number that we see today, betting that it's increased dramatically. So this information might be a bit dated. So I don't think I would use that if it has a copyright date from so long ago. I would probably just leave that one out. So when you find things, make sure that your information is pretty accurate given your topic. And of course, you're going to make sure it's useful. That's why we have this database. It's very easy to use. You just go through South Carolina DISCUS. It gives you literally each side to an issue, so it's perfect for your argumentative essays. Good luck.